Hello, my name's Sally
My name's David.
and we're the parents of Abby Randall, the child that Abby's Heroes is named after. So Abby was 8 when she was diagnosed with cancer, and after a 3-year battle she sadly died in May 2016. And as we were facing the first winter without her, we decided that we wanted to start a charity that would support families going through exactly the same thing as we just had. The charity was formed in November 2016, and we are really proud of how far the charity has come and how much money we've been able to raise in her name, really. The shock of receiving the diagnosis that your child has got cancer is enormous, but it's mainly just numbing. I don't think I have even begin to process that conversation.
That's horrendous, isn't it?
It is,
I can
because
see it now.
I know, I can hear it now as well, and it's just devastating.
Rudy is now 14 months, and when he was, a few days before he was 4 months old, we noticed that he had been a bit feverish and he stopped feeding. Luckily our GP was very on it, sent us straight up to PAU at the Southampton General. And they did a blood test, and we were told that, within a couple of hours of getting there, that the blood tests were likely, they were going to repeat them, but likely to confirm that he had leukemic cells.
10 o'clock that night, the phone went, and it was the out of hours doctor saying that her bloods had shown up as abnormal. And I instantly sat down and I said to them, "You're telling me she's got leukemia, aren't you?"
Finley was diagnosed with anaplastic large cell lymphoma, ALCL for short.
My name is Lily Lomas. I am 10 years old and I go to Hairstep Primary School.
We have 3 children, Lily, Jake and Aria, all pretty close together in age. And we lived a fairly normal kind of life, I guess.
Life with 3 children.
Pretty busy, shepherding them around to clubs and everything.
Yeah.
I would say everything was pretty typical until,
I just had a lump on my leg, grew instead of going down, so I told my mum and dad. And then we went to the GP, where she told me it could be a cyst. And I had a biopsy, and that showed that it was cancer.
And to hear that, when you're looking at your 4-month-old baby, you think that they can't withstand that, that's not going to be possible.
So Amelia came in July, on the 13th of July, and then 5 weeks after she was born is when Isabella got diagnosed. So as you can imagine, it was stressful having a baby, a newborn baby, hormones running all over the place, and then being diagnosed, being told your worst nightmare any parent can ever hear.
Yeah, the impact has basically been picking up like the snow globe of your normal life and just shaking it relentlessly, because there's no let up. You can't take a day off from worrying. You can't take a day off from the medical side of things.
But also the treatment itself, I think for a while it felt like we lost our Lily, didn't it? Because she was so poorly with it, and she was so fed up, and she wasn't herself. And it was difficult to see an end of that, I think.
Yeah, they basically started treatment straight away, because obviously it's treated as serious. We spent a couple of weeks down at PB ward. And that was the first sort of stage of super intense treatment, where she lost her hair, and we had to come to terms with all those kinds of things.
Probably about taking it in and realising that I'm different and don't see my friends much more often, and feel like I'm not really a part of any of the groups of my friends, and I'm not going to school.
I think in the first couple of days after he was diagnosed, I couldn't even say his name out loud because it made me choke. Like, it made to think like, that's my Rudy. That's my Rudy. He's not Rudy with cancer. He's my baby. And it was almost like he had to hand him over to the medical profession and say, like, you know, as much as I want to be the one to make him better, I can't. So here he is in your hands, and we have to support everything else along the way.
And she's had an operation.
Yeah, she had that on the 17th of September, had that removed. And it's about the size of a loaf of bread, the tumour. Yeah, the chemo didn't shrink it, it just hardened it. So it was attached to the diaphragm, sticking to the aorta.
The practicalities of living in hospital, away from your other child, away from your home. I think the impact is endless, and it doesn't probably get back to normal for ever. Yeah.
When families are facing that diagnosis, the question, how are we going to survive financially, comes very soon after diagnosis, because the reality is life still goes on, mortgages still have to be paid, bills still have to be paid, your boiler will still break, your washing machine will still break, all this stuff still goes on, and yet you can't even bear to tear yourself away from your sick child in hospital.
If he doesn't go to work, he doesn't get paid. So, and I needed him there as support, and also it was really important for him to be there. We didn't know which way things were going to go with Finley, so we needed to be there. Both of us needed to be there for as much time as possible and not have the worry of paying all the bills. I mean, because at the beginning, you don't worry about bills. You just think, oh, you know, I'm not even going to worry about that, but you've got to deal with it at some point.
No, it's dreadful. There's no other words for it. Absolutely dreadful. You know, me personally, I've struggled with it really bad, and you know, it's very hard to handle. And financially, we've struggled. I mean, we've had help from family as well, and which has been amazing, and obviously from your charity as well, which has been overwhelming.
When you donate to Abby's Heroes, you're actually giving someone breathing space. You're giving them time to spend with their family. You're saying to them, don't worry about your mortgage for a few months, just concentrate on your child, and that is invaluable. We can't make it better for them, but if we can just give them some time to spend with their families, that's invaluable. You can't put a price on that.
And I think our consultant felt like we didn't need to be in hospital after he'd overcome that period, but that she wanted us close to Great Ormond Street in case he should deteriorate quickly again. And that means finding somewhere to live in London when you're already juggling a house in Southampton. And so we got back in touch with Abby's Heroes, and they helped us pay rent for a little flat so that we could be close to Great Ormond Street.
I can't express how grateful we are to Abby's Heroes for all the help they've offered, not only Lily, but us as a family. I'm going to well up. It's been amazing, you know, and that's why we chose to support Abby's Heroes.
Yeah, so Abby's Heroes did a grant for us, which helped us in a lot of bills from when our daughter Isabella got first diagnosed. We couldn't pay any bills. That wasn't the top of our priority at that time, so we got a bit behind. So the grant helped us pay all that off to get us up to date to what we are now.
Yeah, it was just, you know, it takes that worry off, knowing that the rent's paid and we're not going to get red letters through the door.
We're nothing without fundraisers. You know, our families and friends stood by and watched us go through the diagnosis with Abby, and they could do nothing for us. And since we've started the charity, all of our family and friends have just been incredible to us and to the charity. The money that you raise will support our welfare packs, our financial and practical memory making grants, end of treatment vouchers, the days out that we provide for the families, our Tesco Christmas vouchers, and the magazines and snack box that are on the ward. All of these projects support families from across the Wessex region. We have families that travel to the ward from the islands, Dorset, Wiltshire, Hampshire and West Sussex.
If you are looking to support families who are going through a really, really tough period of their lives, where their children are going through something that you wouldn't want to watch any child go through, then Abbey's Heroes are the people that are supporting them on the ground and locally, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, we know from experience what a difference every penny makes to the charity. Please.
Just, you know, dig deep, and you know it's an amazing charity, and you know we'll be the other side of this eventually, and you know we'll be sat there backing the charity 100%.
I think, you know, if there weren't charities like you that help people like us in this situation, I'm not, you know, we wouldn't just be going through this, we'd be potentially losing our home, and